Beautiful. So we all know this series, we're going to start with the breath first, which is pranayama, deep breathing. So just bringing the fingers, interlace all 10 fingers and just place the fingers underneath the chin. Now, one thing here we have to do is push down on the fingers as we push the knuckles up to the chin. So we're causing a lot of tension there. So push down, push up, inhale, bringing the elbows up. Exhale, out of the mouth, drop the head back, bring the elbows together, and then come back to center. So inhale, exhale, come back to center, inhale. Get deeper and deeper each breath, exhale. Back to center, inhale. Exhale. Back to center, inhale. Exhale. Three more, inhale. Exhale. So with the last two, make a nice and deep inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. And then just bring the hands down. Come into Tadasana, bring the shoulder blades together. Sternum up, palms facing forward. And just close the eyes down. Just allow the effects of the breathing to happen. So you should feel warm. The idea of that one is just to really heat the body up, warm the body up. And obviously, we're going to move into Ardha Chandrasana next to warm the spine up, because everything today is spine, okay? So it's just a complete spine class today. So when you're ready, interlace, bring the hands above the head, interlace all 10 fingers, release index, cross the thumbs. Bring the arms with the ears. Now just go back to the feet. We really want to ground, so toes and heels touch. If you need them a little bit apart, have them a little bit apart for balance. Push the heels down into the floor, squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes, tilt the hips forward. Inhale, reach up with the fingers. Exhale, come down to the left. Come back to center, down to the right, and then just continue, just in your time, just waking that spine up, just remembering it's early in the morning. We don't want to go too far, too deep, too early. Just listening to the spine, taking your time with this one. Then coming back to center. So go through that whole motion again, that whole setup. So push down through the heels, squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes, hips slightly forward. Bring those shoulder blades together, bring the arms with the ears, reach up as high as you can. Inhale, exhale, come down to the left and hold. Make sure you're pushing that right hip all the way out as you reach over. So pulling the right hand over with the left hand to get that deep stretch in the shoulder. Pushing the right hip out to get the stretch in the hip. So now we're just going to get a bit of a twist in the spine. So bring the left shoulder blade towards the camera and then come down a little bit deeper. Holding there, a couple of breaths. Bring the weight to the heels and slowly come up. Again, squeeze the thighs, glutes, hips forward. Shoulder blades together, reach up, inhale, exhale, come down to the right this time. So keep pulling that left arm over Sorry, pull the right arm over with the left hand. Left hip out. Weight in the heels, bring the right shoulder towards the camera slightly. Come down a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, a little bit deeper, and slowly come up. Keep the arms where they are, we come into a back bend. So really important this time to push the hips further forward. So squeeze the glutes and the thighs, hips further forward, reach up. As much as you can, push the hips forward and then bring the arms back with the ears. Keep pushing the hips forward as you come back. Keep rolling the eyes back. Beautiful back bends. Keep rolling the eyes back. Push the hips forward, push down through the heels, look back, go back, and then slowly come up. Bend the knees. Come all the way down. And this is your little break, so have your hands on the floor, walk those heels out. One by one. And as you're walking the heels out, start allowing the head just to drop. Okay, so let gravity take hold of the head and allow the head to keep dropping down. Keep walking the heels out. Just enjoy this really nice forward bend. And then we're going to come into stretching through the hamstrings. So bring the feet as close as you can together. Bring the knees together. Bring the stomach to the thighs by bending the knees. Reach behind. If you can stand on your fingers, that's the best place to be. If not, grab your ankles and you're going to pull and stretch. So pull where you're holding, stretch the hips up, slowly straightening the legs if you can, dropping the head down as far as you can go. So keep pushing the hips up, dropping the head down. Pull wherever you're holding and lift those hips up as high as you can go. Bring the weight slightly into the toes. As you pull once more, drop the head a little bit lower. Bring the forehead as close as you can to the shins. And slowly come up in the knees. Bring the hands all the way up. Arms together. Drop the hands down by the sides. And then come down onto the floor into crocodile pose. So into prone position, crocodile pose. And rest the spine. Beautiful. So if you ever want to heat up quick, that set of poses is probably one of the quickest, easiest ways to fire up the Agni, that fire in the pit of the stomach. But not only that, we're really, really waking up the spine, stretching the spine. Got a lot of spine work today to get through. Should be really nice at the end of the class. Feel really nice. Remember, when we do spine work, when we do any class, but particularly spine work, always take your time to get into the pose and get it to where you need to be today. Really, really important. So when you're ready, you're going to help yourself up and come into downward facing dog. Okay, so you might want to come up and just do a couple of cat cows. I always like to do that first when it's early, and then come up into downward facing dog. We're only in downward facing dog for a stretch, okay, so we're not here for long. But a couple of cat cows up into downward facing. And then stretch the best you can here. So we want the hips up as high as you can go. So just get to that stage with downward facing dog today. Get them right up. You can walk the heels up and down if you like. working into those hips. And from here, we're going to come into pigeon pose. So I'm going to bring that right leg up and work the knee all the way forward and place it behind the right wrist. And then bring the toes around to the left. If they're pointing backwards, it doesn't matter. The more flexible you are, the more they'll come up to the left wrist, the toes. Once you're in a comfortable position there, bring the shoulder blades together. Make sure that left leg is straight, okay? So your ankle is right in line with your hip. Shoulder blades together, sternum up, chin up, chest up, and come down. You can have a cushion in front of you, or the bolster is really, really nice, particularly this time in the morning. Beautiful, stretching into those glutes. If you've been doing a lot of squats this week, you're going to feel it. So a good 3 minutes in this pose, either side. So there's two ways to do this pose. The way we're doing now is obviously the best way, but if it's ever too much, you can always come in to thread the needle. So that's laying on your back with the left knee bent up and the right foot onto the thigh, and just push the knee away. Grab underneath the left thigh and pull the left thigh in, push the right knee away. So that's the same pose, but just supported in the back. Otherwise, this one is definitely the best version. So just keep breathing. So now we're just connecting to that Ujjayi breath. Okay, so Ujjayi breath. So you're halfway through this pose. If you want to go a little bit deeper and get a deeper stretch, if you're ready for that, just walk the left toes further away from the body. Okay, so just crawl them back, and you're going to get a deeper stretch. That right hip will come closer to the floor, but you're going to feel it come into a nice deep stretch. So last 50 seconds, focus just on the breath. Start feeling that tightness releasing in the right glute by breathing into that area. When you're ready, slowly start coming up. So push the floor away. Slowly, I said. Push the floor away. Bring that left leg back straight. Flick the right leg back. And just come into downward dog and have a stretch. And when you're ready, switching sides. So bringing that left knee up to the left wrist. Toes around to where you need to get them to. Make sure that the ankle is in line with the hip. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, so shoulder blades together, sternum up. That's what that means. And then come down into the pose. So we're doing this pose first. A lot of times in in yoga sequences, this is last, but we're trying to loosen up as much as we can around the glute. A really nice set of back bends next. Just keep working with the Ujjayi breath. This is a challenging pose for most people. There's not many people that actually get really comfortable in this pose for the 3 minutes. Because if you do a lot of jogging or lifting weights, squats and stuff like that, this is a major, major stretch. And if you sit a lot for work, again, you're going to feel it deep. So it always gets deep into the glutes. So we've got a minute to go. So just focus on the breath only. Just the last 20 seconds, so nice deep inhales now. And when you're ready, push the floor away, straighten that right leg, come up on the toes, flick the left leg back. I always like to have a stretch in downward dog, then drop to the knees, a couple of cat-cows, and then come into crocodile pose for the relaxation. Toes out, heels in, head on the stacked hands. That's good, really nice way to start. So just while you're laying there, we're going to go through 3 back bends which are quite deep. We're going to hold them about a minute each. And I'm going to show you a few different ways. There's a few maybe tips to get in there to hold these for as long as you can. So just when you're ready, just help yourself up and just look up to the camera and just have a look at this. So the first one is Bhujangasana. We all know that. A lot of the times we're in Bhujangasana and out in Bhujangasana really quick. But to hold it for a minute, it's a really, really deep pose and a deep stretch into the lower back. So one of the main things that you've got to think with Bhujangasana is the hips stay pushed into the floor. Okay, that's really, really major. Otherwise, you're stretching your quads, and we don't want to do that. We want to stretch the lower back. So we bring the hands. So just watch first. We bring the hands just on the outside of the chest, feet together, because it's called Cobra pose, and Cobra's only got one leg. Okay, so feet together or one tail. Feet together. Bring the hands on the inside of the chest, elbows in, Always bring the forehead to the floor first before you come up. And then help yourself up and just come up slow and watch how I'm coming up nice and slow. And I'm going to go to where I feel. So I'm right here. My hips are going to stay into the floor. I can squeeze the glutes, push them in, elbows in, drop the shoulders forward, and then look up. Okay, so that is where I need to be today. A lot of people come up and they're like this, and their hips are above the floor. And then the quads, they're switched on. I don't want the quads switched on. I want to stretch the lower back. Okay, so get yourself set and just come up into the pose, feet together, tops of the feet on the floor. Get your hands set, your elbows in, forehead on the floor, and then work your way up, nice and slow. Once you get to where you're comfortable and the hips are pushed into the floor, squeeze the glutes tight. Then bring your gaze upwards, drop the shoulders down and hold. Keep bringing the elbows in. Shouldn't be much weight on the hands, okay? So we're right into the back. Now with Bhujangasana, if you ever need, if it's getting too much, just come out slow and go back in, okay? Don't change the position. Come in and out. You've got 25 seconds to go. You don't want to feel any pain here, just a nice deep stretch. So bring the elbows in. We've got 15 seconds to go. Elbows in, push them in towards the rib cage. Drop the shoulders down away from the ears and then lift the chest up as high as you can go. Last 5 seconds. Hips into the floor and then slowly come down. So back into crocodile pose. We want to relax the back for at least 30 seconds. So hopefully you feel different in Bhujangasana when you do it correctly like that. There's a lot of the times in Bhujangasana, in yoga classes, we just push through it, but it's such an important pose for the hips and the lower back. So the idea of back bends like this is we just want to engage the back. Okay, sometimes we need the glutes in, well, we do need the glutes engaged to support the back, but nothing else. We just want to engage the back muscles. So when you're ready, just look up again. We're going to come into seal pose. Again, everyone knows seal pose, but if you're pushing away in seal pose and your hips are coming up, you've come up too high. So just come back again and you can bring the hands further out in front of you. And that's going to keep the hips on the floor. Okay, so the further away you are, the less of a back bend you're going to get, but the hips are going to be on the floor. But you're getting a back bend. The closer you come in, you're starting to raise the hips up and you're switching on the quads. Okay, so find that place in front of you where you can come up. Your hips are still into the floor. Squeeze the glutes, shoulder blades together, sternum up, and come straight up. If that's too much, you can always drop into Sphinx, but release the tension in the glutes. So coming into seal. That's it, good. So now what we're doing is we're getting more into we're into middle and lower back. So we're working our way up. So if you're feeling too much in the lower back, you can just slide the hands away. Shoulder blades together, sternum up, and you'll feel that middle back really, really kick in there. So it's almost like you're squeezing your lats together continually as you push the hips into the floor. We raise up. You've got 20 seconds to go. Always drop into Sphinx if you need to from this one. These are really, really deep back bends here. 5 seconds, so come up as high as you can. Shoulder blades together, sternum up, chin up, chest up, push the hips into the floor. and then slowly come down. Again, crocodile pose. Relax the back. So these 3 poses that I'm doing now they're crucial for people with back problems. Not just that, people with mental health issues as well. A lot of the mental health issues is because of the adrenaline that pumps through the body. So what this is doing is regulating the adrenal glands. Every one of these poses. So usually when you finish like a back bend class, you come out feeling really spacey, and that's the idea. It stops the adrenaline pushing through the body so fast. So when you're ready, I just want you to look up again. We're going to come into bow pose, and we're going to hold bow for a minute. You can use a strap in bow if you want to hold it longer, or you can just, and so using the strap, we're just putting the strap around where our hands are going. So you can use that if you like, but the idea here is shoulder blades together. Okay, we want to squeeze them as much as we can and lift the chest and then lift the thighs off the floor. So when you're holding these poses for a minute, you don't want to get into it like, I can get into it fairly deep, but I can't hold that for a minute. It's impossible. Okay, so just come into the pose, get into it how you can hold and hold there. Now, the further you bring your legs out, the easier the pose is. Okay, so if you're feeling too much tension, just bring the knees away from each other and kick the toes up. The idea is to keep pushing the toes up as high as you can go. And towards the end, we'll just come to our highest peak. Okay, so get yourself set. Again, strap if you need to. Set yourself up and then come into the pose. So always lift the chest up first, chin, chest up. Kick the feet into the hands, then lift the knees, the thighs off the floor. Come into a position and just keep holding there, but just working on lifting the chin and chest up, shoulder blades together, and pointing the toes to the ceiling, making sure the thighs are off the floor. Just be in that position. And you'll feel now the fatigue kicking in. So now kick the feet into the hands as much as you can. Lift the toes up higher, shoulder blades together, chin up, chest up. Now the last 10 seconds, we're coming up as high as we can go. So keep pushing those toes up, lift the thighs up, shoulder blades together, chin up, chest up, come up as high as you can go. Exhale, release. And come in for a minute's rest. To completely relax the back. So you would feel the heat building up, the heart probably thumping a little bit, particularly if you're a pitter. The heart will be thumping. So we control the breath again. Connect to Ujjayi breath. And just control that breath. Good. Relaxation now is needed because we're moving into a set of forward bends. So when you're ready, just help yourself up. Come up onto all fours and just do a few cat-cows again. If you're coming in and out of poses in Yin, I when I'm in a yin class, I do this quite often. I just come in and out and I'll just do a few cat-cows, especially when we're doing spine work. Then when you're ready, we're going to come into Baddha Konasana, seated. So seated position, everyone knows this pose by now. But after some deep back bends, this is a nice one because we're not coming all the way forward. Well, some of us can, but it's a really nice forward bend to lengthen through the spine. Okay, so make sure the feet are away. You've got a nice diamond shape there. Interlace all 10 fingers. Pull under the feet, shoulder blades together, chin away from the chest, and slowly, slowly start coming down. You're going to feel that back. Bit of resistance because we've done 3 deep back bends. You might even start feeling it in the hips. Just slowly come down. Nice and slow. Wherever you can get to, wherever the body says stop, just stop and work on that breath. Beautiful. Sometimes in forward bends like this, if you have a cushion or a bolster in front of you, it's really, really nice. You can push it up against the stomach. You've got your elbows on it, and if you can reach your feet, you can just pull down and get you in a really nice space. And it sort of helps you get down a little bit easier. Beautiful. But this is a tough pose, and as I can see with everyone there, it takes quite some time to get all the way down. So Mary's been doing yoga for 2 years, pretty much now, and she's just starting to touch the toes, touch her head on the toes. So that's 2 years of quite a bit of yoga. So just gauge on that. It's a constant thing. It's about turning up each time on the mat and working towards it. It's not about that thing where you get there and you just can't do this. And it's about just enjoying the journey and believing in the journey. And keep breathing, working with the breath. One minute to go. Beautiful. And as much as sometimes you don't think you are, but every single person is moving down closer and closer. The last 10 seconds. When you're ready, slowly coming out of the pose. So from here, what we're going to do is move straight in to child's pose. Okay, so flip yourself straight around. It's pretty much the same position, but now we're working more on the hips rather than the forward bend. So just push the hips back, legs out, and then coming down into the pose. Again, you can have a cushion in front of you or anything which makes yourself comfortable. We've got 3 minutes in child's pose. Keep working those hips back to the heels. Beautiful. So those 2 poses together are really starting to open up the hips because we've got a couple of hip openers next, but we're more concerned about the lower back and the forward bend. Just connect it with your breath. So you're halfway through. So never stop working those hips back. Okay, so always remember, inhale, lengthen through the spine, exhale, push the hips back slightly. Last 30 seconds, get those hips back as far as you can go. Work on the deeper inhale. So that nice deep inhale. When you're ready, slowly coming out of the pose, I'm going to flip over into our first Shavasana. A good minute in this Shavasana, just to get that blood through the knees and ankles, which we've blocked off for 6 minutes now. When you're ready, bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. And then just rolling up to a seated position. So we're going to come into Paschimottanasana. So Paschimottanasana is hands to feet. Okay, so hands to toe. So grabbing the big toe if you can. Okay, so the full pose of Paschimottanasana is this. So we inhale, lengthen, exhale, come down, grab the big toe, shoulder blades together, inhale, lengthen again, and then come down, pulling the toe, bringing the elbows down on the outside of the knees, and bringing the head towards the toes. Okay, so that's the full pose. Sometimes we're in it for a while, so it's hard to hold onto the toes. If you can reach around the back of the feet, it's always good to do that. If you can reach good there, put a block there and come a bit further. If you can't reach the feet, don't just reach the feet and sit there like that. Okay, so you want to bring the stomach to the thighs. So what we want to do there is bend the knees up and slide the heels forward so that your stomach's on the thighs. Okay, so try and work that one out. But always work looking to the toes. Okay, you can use a strap as well. If you really can't reach the toes, always use the strap. Whack the strap around there and bring your hands down lower, as low as you can, and keep pulling that stomach towards the thighs. Okay, so that's the main thing we have to do. That's getting that tilt of the pelvis. Okay, so pick which one you like, which one's going to benefit you a lot more, and just work towards the stretch. And this is an awesome forward bend, but just remember, use the strap if you need to. The strap will get you further quicker. Some people persist without the strap and it just takes forever. So utilize the strap if you need to. And so whatever you've got hold of, you're pulling towards you, bringing the shoulder blades together, stomach to the thighs. Okay, stomach to the thighs. And keep your focus on where your head needs to go, and that's the toes. Every now and again, just wiggle those hips backwards. That'll bring you deeper into the pose, give you more of a stretch. So you just wiggle those hips backwards. Beautiful, it's really nice. So this is one of the ancient yoga poses, Paschimottanasana. It's a really, obviously hamstrings, but getting that pelvic tilt is really important. Getting the pelvic tilt is releasing and opening the spine. But it'll test your hamstrings, it'll test your hips. Just go with it, however you feel. "35 seconds to go." So last 20 seconds, just work those hips backwards as you squirm your body forward. And pull as tight as you can go. And then slowly release, coming back up into Shavasana. So it's the end of the forward bends. So just relax. So after this class, each and every one of you will be at least 1.5 inches taller. You're just going to feel nice and loose all day through the back. We're just going to loosen the hips up a little bit as well before we finish. We've still got 15 minutes. It's good, we can get a good couple of hip stretches in. So when you're ready, bring the knees up into the chest. Roll up to a seated position. And we're going to come into Ustrasana. It's another back bend, but focus more on the hips. So it's a back bend, but a hip opener. Ustrasana is camel pose. I just, again, want you just to watch what I do. I'm going to give you the options. Because if you get the right option and you find that space, you're going to get exactly what you need. So what we're trying to do is have those hips protruding forward. We're opening the hips up, okay? So it's knees underneath the hips, and we're opening the hips up. So people get into this too quick. So your fingers are pointing out and pushing into the hips. Now this is what we're after today, is that they're getting those hips. I can feel my hips opening up. Squeeze the glutes, drop the back a little bit deeper, and you'll get the hip stretch. If you want to go further into the back, drop the head back. Right hand, right heel, left hand, left heel. But keep pushing the hips forward. Whatever's in front of you, like the camera, you want to touch your hips on the camera. Okay, so that is the idea. You can always use a cushion behind you or a bolster. And what that's going to do is allow you to come back onto that area. That's if you want to there. But just remember, all we're after is this. We want the hips forward. And if you're there, that's perfect. So you don't have to go too deep. Okay, so move into where you need to be. It's a deep pose, so don't get into it too deep, too quick. And keep the glutes nice and tight, the shoulder blades towards each other, the chin away from the chest, and the eyes rolling backwards. Keep pushing the hips forward and breathe. Beautiful. Now, one of the challenges is to continually roll the eyes back, okay? Our fear is of falling. So we're going to get rid of that fear by continually rolling the eyes back. Keep holding as long as you can. You've got 40 seconds to go. If you need to come out, come out. If you need to come out and go back in, do that. Shoulder blades together, hips forward. Keep pushing the hips forward. Last 15 seconds. When you're ready, slowly come up. Nice and slow. That's the deepest back bend you'll do today. Relax, come back into Shavasana. Really important to get into Shavasana after this one. You might feel like everything's locking up. We just need that blood flow to go through those hips now. So that pose is a dedicated back bend, but it's a hip opener as well. It's a deep hip opener. I'm doing a class up against a wall to video to show everyone, and that's one of the poses where you lean back away from the wall, but you're pushing your hips into the wall. You get a really deep stretch. So just remember with that one too, that's the deepest back bend you'll do, and it's very, it's driven by releasing emotion. So the emotions will release through you. People have come out of that pose crying, laughing, angry. You can just bring emotions up really quickly. Just allow them to come up and just allow them to go. Well, you might feel nothing. That's okay. When you're ready, bring your knees into the chest. Have a really deep squeeze, the deepest you can go. After that, that hip open and back bend. Try and bring the tailbone to the floor, shoulder blades to the floor to lengthen through that spine as much as you can go. And then roll up to a seated position. We're going to come into frog pose. It's one of the second last pose. So everyone knows frog pose by now, so knees out wide, toes out, heels in. And we want the hips up. Remember, you can have whatever you want in front of you to make it comfortable. You might just need your hands in front of you if that's enough. Work down to the elbows, eventually come down, but you want those hips back, chest down. If your knees are sensitive, make sure you put something under the knees like a towel. Beautiful. Ujjayi breath to get through this. Deep hip flexor opening. So always listen to your body in this pose, and if you need to come out early, you make sure you do. And just go straight into Shavasana if you come out early. Keep pushing the hips back. So we've got just on a minute to go. Keep working the Ujjayi breath. Keep working the hips back. Just being on that borderline of that tension, of just pushing past that boundary perhaps, or just sitting on the boundary. Just remember, don't push past the boundary with strength. Push past the boundary with breath. And what I mean by that, when you hit the boundary, when your body's saying don't go any further, take a nice deep inhale in and lengthen through the spine. And exhale, just allow your body to sink deeper. So you're not forcing it. You're allowing the breath to control the movement. And that's what yoga is about, allowing the breath to control what is going on. When you're ready, push the chest away from the floor. I never look forward to getting out of this pose. And then coming into Shavasana, just have your block close to you. You may need it shortly, or whatever you put underneath your back. And once you're completely relaxed, I just want you to come into supported bridge. So just lift the hips up, place whatever you need under you. You don't have to come up too high. Just allow those hips to be up a little bit higher than the heart. Bring the shoulder blades together and work that chin towards the chest. Just continually work this relaxation. We'll keep the block there for another 30, 40 seconds. It's been a very, probably a testing class today because we've worked completely on the spine. It's been quite a few deep stretches, deep poses. You're going to feel the benefits of them today. Just enjoy those benefits today. When you're ready, just bend the knees up, lift the hips up, and just place the hips down as slow as you can go. Just makes it feel even better. Seems like a long way down for the hips. Then place the hips on the floor. Come into Shavasana, final pose. Try and bring those shoulder blades as close as you can together. Feet apart, arms away from the body, palms facing up, chin towards the chest. And just completely relax. This is why Shavasana is so important, particularly after a class like this where we've worked the spine. Incredibly, we've worked it forward, backwards, deep poses, stopping blood going through, releasing fresh blood through separate parts of the back. So your spine is nourished. So just enjoy this relaxation. So after a nice spine stretching class, just focus on the spine. What I want you to do is visualize what a spine looks like, what your spine looks like. And then just place the prana or the life force into that spine. That's the breath. So go all the way down to the base of the spine and fill the spine up with prana through a deep inhale. And watch that spine fill up all the way with prana. Once it gets to the top, then just release and empty the spine again, getting rid of the toxins, emptying the spine completely. Just visualize that if you can. If you can't visualize, just feel. Inhale. Again, filling the spine up with prana. Once you fill it all the way up, release all those toxins again. And just continue that filling up of the spine, filling it up with the life force, with the energy, the life force of the breath. Just think what happens with the spine. Not only does it hold the body up, but all those neural pathways that run, all the nerves that run through there, all the messages that run up and down. You're just clearing out the way of toxins today so that you can release tension, stagnant energy, stiffness, pain. Continue filling the spine up. And then once you've released a nice deep breath, emptied the spine again, just roll the eyes up and go into Chitta. So just without straining the eyes, just look up in between the eyebrow center. Completely relax all thoughts. You can't connect to anything here other than your pure consciousness. Just witness and be aware of what's happening there. And when you're ready, just relax those eyes again. Do one more prana filling up of the spine. Release that air, release the toxins. And just go back to Chitta once more. Looking up between the space and between the eyebrows. And just know that that place there, Chitta, is there for you all the time. Not just at the end of yoga, but that's your space. It's the place where you're safe, calm, relaxed. So utilize that when you need to utilize that. Combination with the breath and Chitta brings bliss, calmness, relaxation. And when you're ready, relax all efforts. Give yourself a bit of thanks for being here this morning, dedicating the time to yourself on the mat. Then send off a gratitude. As normal, it's a really nice time to send off a gratitude with awareness. And start wiggling the toes and the fingers, rolling to the right hand side. When you're ready, take a breath. When you come up, bring your hands into prayer position. Down, take a nice deep inhale. And release everything else out. Thank you guys for coming and dedicating this time to yourself and allowing me to take you through the class. It was a real pleasure to do so. And I know that your spine is going to be awesome today, so just enjoy it and have a wonderful rest of Friday. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Have a great day. Namaste.